now I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna stumble so much. I'm gonna have to do this twice. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, everybody, welcome back to Hot Couch Potato. My name is Brent, aka Boo-Wop. I'm here with my man Rick, aka A New Perfect Day. What's going on, man?
Going good. How about you, man?
I'm chilling. Just got home. We're in the midst of Comic-Con right now, man. Day 2 just ended. It's going on for the next 2 days. I know you're going to be out there this weekend, right?
Yeah, so I'm thinking about going back there tomorrow to check out the stuff for on the outside of Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
Since on Thursday I already went in, but I think there's like a lot of stuff that I missed on the outside that I'm looking forward to checking out on Saturday, and then I'll be going back on a Sunday to take my nephews and meet up with a couple friends.
Nice. And I mean, on the outside, you mean just by the Hilton and that parking lot, or going up and down 5th Street as well?
Yeah, so it's gonna be kind of spread out through a little bit through downtown. It's gonna go through the Gaslamp District, on the other side of Petco Park, near the Hilton Hotel, by Seaport, just like all around Comic-Con. That's where a lot of the hidden stuff are, and the only way that people know about it is either through Twitter or something like that, spreading the word through social media. So hopefully I can see some good stuff on the outside of Comic-Con, because I don't have a badge for Saturday.
Okay.
As well.
You're just going to be outside. Yeah, I've walked around a little bit today, mostly during my lunch break and during my 15-minute breaks that
during work.
Yeah, that grew into just half-hour breaks of me and my coworkers just walking around. It's so funny. They're out there, and they're not the type of people that normally go to Comic-Con. So when I told them I was going, they're like, "Oh, really? Do you dress up?" Blah blah blah. They have that stereotype in their head of people that go to Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Dress up and just are super into stuff. They don't expect a person like me who, I don't really go out of my way, to do shit like that. They don't expect a person like me to go, and I'm like, nah, man, I just go hang out and be amongst my peers, man. People are into the same shit that I am, dude.
People.
Why you gotta be a hater, So then going around with them and stuff, and I don't know, I feel like I was a good ambassador, just helping them get into it whenever we saw someone dressed up. Usually they would just say, "Oh, hey, look, that person's dressed up." I would go, "Hey, dude, they want a picture with you," and they would get all embarrassed, but people love doing that shit, right? People that are cosplaying want to take pictures with you, so
exactly,
it was good, just sharing our Comic-Con world with people that aren't really into it.
Yeah, and that was the thing too. Like my mom came to me earlier, and she was saying that her coworkers, who she works for the city attorney office, and all of her coworkers are kind of like old people, and they're already asking her to ask me for any free tote bags that I'm getting. I'm like, wow, it's just learning that more people are into this kind of thing. So yeah,
which is cool, man. I think it's awesome. Just gets a little bit crowded, but other than that, it's awesome that it's getting more and more accepted in popular normal culture. But before we dive too much into Comic-Con, man, what games have you been playing this week?
So the two main games that I've been talking about for a while is the Final Fantasy 14, and I just want to talk about that experience we had with me, you, Russ, and Eric. And we were playing the Odin fight.
Oh, no, dude. So hype,
bro. It was super hype. So the Odin fight is a Primo in Final Fantasy. And he is a knight with a giant sword on a horse. And he can wipe out the party real fast. And the thing is that your team has to be very collaborated. You got to know what you're doing, essentially, before you can even jump into the fight and know exactly what's going on. And I felt bad because this fight was more geared to the healers knowing their roles and keeping the party alive. If the healers they miss a heal, essentially the entire team wipes. And so with that fight in general, we wiped I think maybe 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And it was us talking on Discord trying to plan out what to do, and Russ was essentially the leader. He was giving us tips and advice on how to approach this primal. And then I just remember we got down to maybe almost the last half of the fight, and where it like starts counting down to wiping the team. And if we don't, this is where it's a DPS check. If we don't kill the boss fast enough, then essentially we all wipe. So I remember we were like nearly on the verge to like the last 5 seconds of getting wiped, but we managed to pull through in the end and kill the primal, and that got me so hyped. I couldn't even sleep that night.
I know, man. It was, and the thing with it is that's an old trial, man, or that's an old primal. This is stuff that came out a year or two ago. You know what I mean? And we're here over level 50 and we're struggling and shit, man, and dying and just getting so exhilarated after reading it. I feel you. I was the same way. I think it was just so pumped. It was almost like E3 when we beat Susano, man. It was that crazy.
Yeah. I just, without Russ's guidance, I don't think we would have been able to beat Odin.
Yeah.
Because he's like a real true Final Fantasy player. Like, he got it down. He got everything down. And the thing is, he can coordinate the team to however he wants it. Like, make the improvements. Like, he was mentioning to the healers, do this, this, and this. Have you tried doing this? And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, knowing all the classes.
Definitely a raider. He knows all aspects of the game pretty well, because he was tanking in that fight. Yeah, he was a warrior during that fight.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Usually, as a DPS, I can just dodge stuff and not take damage, and healers can just concentrate on the tanks, just making sure their health's up.
Yeah.
But in the Odin fight specifically, no matter what, everybody's gonna get hit. So it's on the healers to really keep everybody alive, which I think is cool. And there's different aspects. At the end, there's a DPS check, so it's all up to the damage at that point. So I think fights like that are really cool, where they show the different ranges and archetypes of the game and how they're important. Everybody has their own time to shine, more or less, right?
Yeah, and it just confirmed myself that I am never going to be a healer on Final Fantasy.
Man, that's actually the next class I'm going to try to roll, man.
Yeah. Good luck, man.
Well, yeah, what else have you been playing this week? Or is it just been Final Fantasy?
Final Fantasy and Rune Factory, and I've been stuck on a boss, actually. And I learned that this game is not really about farming, like the other game. That's why I wasn't really into the farming aspect. It's because it's more focused on going into the dungeon and defeating all the monsters to progress the story. But right now I'm stuck on a plant monster, and it keeps stunning me and keeps putting poison on me and spitting on me. Oh my god. But now I just gotta level up I have to farm some more to get money, so I can use that money to upgrade my weapon to a fire weapon, so I can be able to come back to that plant monster and kill the plant monster. But the thing is too, the dragon essentially is like sleeping, or it's like the dragon lost her energy, and the townsfolk for like one day, the townsfolk was worried and showing concern with the dragon. But the next day they were fucking having a festival.
What the fuck?
Celebrating and going on with their lives, and I was like, damn, does no one really care about the dragon anymore?
Because the dragon's starting to sacrifice itself, right, for the land and stuff.
Yeah, like essentially, yeah, but
okay,
that was the thing, like these people were worried for one day, and then the next day we're all celebrating. I don't know, like a pie eating contest. So I was like, wow, I guess. But yeah, right now I'm just on that part. And recently I bought Mario 3D Land. I only played the first level, but this game was released in 2011, and it is really good. And the price is still the same price when it initially released too.
And this is on 3DS, right?
3DS, yeah.
So how does it play? Is it like a side scroller, or
it's like Mario 64? Essentially like Mario 64.
Okay.
But
nice.
It feels a bit like a platformer, like the old original Mario games. And when I was reading a bunch of reviews, they were saying this is one of the games that has that nostalgic feel to it too.
Okay.
So yeah, and then another game that I'm about to get into, but I know it's gonna go to the back of my backlogs, is Zelda Breath of the Wild. My cousin let me borrow his Nintendo Switch, so I'll be bringing that up to LA. Yeah, I'll be
Nice,
playing
dude.
that. Yeah, I bought a charger, and so that way I can just go ahead and play it mobile versus using that dock. But yeah, those are the games that I'm essentially playing.
Nice, man. So pretty good variety. I've been the same, of course, playing Final Fantasy 14. I don't know if I talked about it last week, but I got my Black Mage to 70. So I'm at the end game right now with my Black Mage, so I just jumped over to Samurai. I like his combos a lot more, so I'm gonna start using that. Just leveling that up right now. And then next is the healer, man. Are you ready to? Are you ready for me to heal you, bro?
I'm gonna have to start popping on my defensive buffs.
No faith, bro. No
right
faith.
in the first battle, I'm going in full defense.
Damn, messed up.
No worries. I was just kidding. I won't do that.
No, actually, you need to. I'm just not gonna.
Yeah,
I'm gonna heal myself, dude. I'm gonna waste all my MP and heal myself. Use Cure 3 when I should just be using regular Cure and shit, man. But yeah, that's. I log in every day. I don't even do the dailies because the DPS queue is too long. But I jump in the Golden Saucer, play the slots a little bit, get my little Golden Saucer money up, and then I log out. If there's anything I have to do in that game every day, it's that. It's not the daily missions where you get bonus currency or whatever. It's the slots, man. Just gambling it up.
Yeah. Also try doing getting your retainers at. Send them on adventures.
Oh no, I've been forgetting about that, man.
Yeah.
Because they can get you some good stuff. I think that's the only way to get the otter too. The otter minion.
Yeah. Like they're saying that it's a good way to get money through retainers, so that way you can grab you materials and extra things and can sell it. So I'm leveling up a miner and my gladiator retainer. So one's gonna be hunting and one's gonna be looking for material like ores and stuff like that.
Okay. Damn, dude. I totally forgot about that. I think it's been 2 days and I haven't talked to them. R.I.P. man. The funniest thing about retainers too is you get to pick their personality, Yeah. So you can pick whether they're mean, needy, or I forget what the choices were. But I remember the first one I picked, I made her just super needy. So whenever I call her, she's like, "Oh, I'm so happy to see you." And then when I tell her to leave, she's like, "Oh, you don't want to hang out with me anymore?" And she just leaves, And then the next one, I was like, "All right, she's too nice, man. I'll make this next one super mean, So whenever I call her to talk to her and give her items and any of that stuff, she goes, "Ugh, what do you want now?" I just feel so bad. I go, "Oh no." So it's funny. I always choose to talk to the mean one first, then let her go away, and she's like, "Finally, I can leave," And then when I call the first retainer I made back, and she's so nice to me, I feel so much better. I go, "Oh God, thank you."
I made both of my retainers all needy. They're like, "What do you need, love?"
Oh, no.
So
wait, are they cat girls too?
One is a cat girl maid.
Oh no. Yes, dude. Rick for Honey Pop, man. Yes, dude.
Yeah. But yeah, one is a cat maid and one's a human girl. But the cool thing is you can dress them up the way you want them to be. But I think I'm gonna have to hold off in order to glamour their equipment, because right now it's kind of tricky equipping them.
Yeah, it gets
stuff and then glamoring it.
It gets expensive, dude. I don't know how you do it on your tank. You just keep glamoring that white armor on yourself.
I'm a bunny warrior for life.
Shit. So you got every time you level up or you get new gear, you just have to re-glamour everything?
Yeah, and it doesn't really cost that much. It's like maybe 2,000, 4,000. I don't remember.
That's actually a lot of work.
Maybe because I already have the glamour stuff. But yeah, I glamour it so my costume never changes. And you can see it on other players. When you look at another player, their character avatar turns their head and looks at you. So every time I go to Limsa, you can see people like stopping, turning to me.
To look at you.
Yeah, to look at me. I remember like one person was like, "Oh shit, a bunny." I was like, "That's right, bitch."
that's funny. So other than Final Fantasy, I'm still trying to tackle the backlog. I think I jumped on the wrong game to do that with. Out of everything.
What game is that? Like an RPG game?
Yeah, out of everything in my Steam library, I could have chose any of these games I could have finished in 5 hours or less. No, I decided to start playing Sleeping Dogs,
you're in it to win it.
which is basically Grand Theft Auto mixed with a kung fu movie. Oh my god, dude.
Oh,
I can already
man.
tell. The first night I played it for maybe 5 hours. I just got so lost. And it's this
Wow.
it's this open world game more similar to what was that one? True Crime Streets of LA back on the Xbox.
Yeah.
It's very story driven, more so it's story driven. You're this undercover cop who was born in Taiwan, Hong Kong, I think actually. You're born in Hong Kong, moved to the United States, and then became a cop, go back to Hong Kong, and you just become an undercover cop,
Yeah.
Try to infiltrate the triads or any of the gang families that are going on in the neighborhood where you grew up in. So it's super easy for the main character to infiltrate the gang since he's from there. He has childhood friends that are in the gang now, and they put in good words for him and stuff. And yeah, it's very similar to Grand Theft Auto. The driving isn't as polished, but the hand-to-hand combat is amazing. I think they concentrated a lot on having it be hand-to-hand combat more than guns. I mean, I played the game for 5 hours. I haven't touched a gun yet, so it's kind of wild.
Is it like using your surrounding, the things around you to fight with?
Yeah, you can get weapons. You can grapple people and then throw them into a wall, or there's interactive environment things like air conditioning units you could throw people into and their face gets chopped up, dude, from the fan. It gets gnarly, man. It gets pretty gnarly. And then I think why I'm really into it now is because I just played Rise, Son of Rome, and it has a similar combat system where you do combos. You can grapple, throw people, and all that stuff. So I think that's why I'm taking to it a little bit more. But so far so good, man. I just think the driving isn't as polished as I want it to be. And then definitely after playing this game, I'm realizing I might need to upgrade my computer because there's points where it does lag a bit, and I can tell it's going below 60 frames a second, and I'm on like medium graphics. I'm just, I should just be playing on an Xbox or PlayStation. Why am I playing this on a PC? So it's good. So far, so good. Definitely gonna dive into it more this week and this weekend. I want to finish it. I want to finish it by next week, but who knows how that's gonna go,
bruh, you're in it to win it for like a month.
I know. I started doing some collectibles too, so I can get my health meter higher and all that. I go, oh no! I spent maybe 30 minutes just looking for they're like shrines you pray at to get your health up. Yeah. And after a while, I go, okay, no, I need to go back to the story. Go back to the story. So yeah, started that up, and then Destiny 2 beta dropped this week, man. Yeah, and came out first on PS4 on Tuesday. Yeah, on Tuesday, and pre-downloaded that and played the shit out of it. I mean, it's nothing too different from what I played at E3. I went to the actual Activision booth and to the PlayStation 4 booth. At Activision, I played PvP, and then at the PlayStation booth, I played the Strike that's in the beta right now. So nothing too crazy. I knew what to expect. I just got a lot more time, a lot more hands-on to play it, digest it a little bit slower than just being in that crowd of people. So it's good. Already I hear there's a lot of complaints about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What kind of complaints?
With the movement, and people are saying it doesn't feel as fluid as Destiny, the first one. A lot of it is they took away Titan skating, where you could time your Titan floats to be faster than if you were sprinting. You just like fly across the room if you timed your jumps right. In conjunction with making the Strike bigger. Like, the Strike is huge. You know what I mean? Like, I remember I said there were times where I got lost in the Strike at E3. Didn't you
Yeah.
feel that way? You just didn't know, oh, where am I supposed to go next? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I was following a bunch of people, and I was like, "Where are you guys going?" Because I had no idea
exactly, yeah.
what the goal is, who to kill, and whatnot.
And there's parts where you have to go across a canyon or something, but you don't know what platforms to jump on. You have to look like in the corner of your eye on the bottom right, and you see, oh, there's where I can cross. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, in conjunction with making the Guardians slower in a sense and making the level design bigger, I think that's what people are complaining about. It doesn't feel as, like I said, yeah, as fluid as it did in the first Destiny. But people got to realize this isn't the final game. This is just the beta, right? I mean, when we played the Destiny 1 beta, I don't think it was as polished as it was now. So, Bungie knows what they're doing. I think they'll pick it
I
back
wonder
up.
how they make the tweaks. Like, do they adjust the animation? Do they adjust the frames? And like, if people complaining about the level, do they just get rid of the level entirely?
Yeah, maybe they just bring the movement speed back up, I think, or they give you more movement options. I know one complaint I had was the cooldowns for your abilities. They take so long, man. I guess I'm just used to, doing the hunter roll and then shooting a couple bullets and doing the hunter roll again. But in Destiny 2, you do the hunter roll, you gotta wait like a minute and a half before you can roll again, you know?
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So that slows you down a little bit as well. But I had my fun with it. You get to play the first mission in the game where all the Guardians lose their light. So I thought that was cool. You are basically in the tower, this place that you spent a lot of your time in Destiny 1, and it's completely changed because it's been blown up by the Cabal, right? And
Yep.
you open up doors and you recognize certain features here and there. You open up one door that you were never able to open up before, and you can finally see what's behind there,
A
And I-
bunch of fire.
Yeah, and I felt they were holding your hand kind of through a narrative, right? So you see where all the Zavala and them hung out, and it's all blown to shit. You open a door, and it's this one hallway you're used to walking into, and Cade's there, golden gunning like 3 different dudes at one time. You open another door, and Shaxx is like, oh, hey, here, get this exotic pistol, and you pick that up. You go to the main tower area where the ball was and shit, which, if you look for it, the ball is still there. It's just popped. Fucking sad, man.
Yeah.
And Zaval is there, like, putting his Titan shield up. You can hide in it while the ships shoot rockets at you. See, I fucked that up a bunch. I guess you're supposed to stay with him and shoot stuff, but hell no. I was a hunter. I had my arc staff thing. I ran out and was just staffing people up. And then all of a sudden he would go, Guardian with me, and then he would put up his shield. So I go, oh, okay, cool. I get to take cover in his shield. As I'm running to it, the rockets are coming in too. So as I'm
They're
about
all
to
like
get,
right behind you.
as I'm about to get inside the bubble, the rockets hit it, so they all explode and I die. And this happens maybe 2 or 3 times. And I was so embarrassed. I was like, this is supposed to be epic, and I'm fucking it up. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And the whole time, I don't know how it works, because I didn't start that mission with anybody, but on that specific part, there were other random Guardians just coming in and out,
Yeah,
And
and I
helping me out
enjoyed
doing
that
their own
part.
thing.
Like, it's so immersive too, having those Guardians, random players just coming into the same area to defend that particular scene.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. It just sucked because they saw me dying a bunch.
Dying right in front of him.
Yeah. So I mean, I really only played it on Tuesday. Since then, it's been getting ready for Comic-Con and all that. But I think this weekend for sure, I'll dive into it a little bit more. That strike is friggin' hard, man. The last boss is crazy.
Yeah, I came close to dying a couple of times. It's just, man, I didn't really know that you have to use the cover system so much for that last strike boss.
And the thing with it too is that's another complaint that people have is that guy has just a shit ton of health, man. It takes forever to kill him, and it takes you that long, to get him to, I think it's at a 4th or a 5th of his health, and he starts going crazy and just stomping you out and stuff like that, chasing you throughout the level. And if you die at that part, you have to start all the way over from the beginning of the fight. That's like a 10-minute fight, man. So it's kind of gnarly. I know that was another complaint that people had too.
And that's normal mode too.
Yeah. But at the same time, we don't know what our gear is at, right? We don't know if the gear gets to a point where it's so strong that it won't even take that long to kill him. So see how it goes. I'm ready for it to improve. You just got to remind yourself that this is just the beta, right? It's not the final product. This isn't what's going to come out in October, November, whenever it comes out. Or September. Yeah. Shit, it comes out in September, I think. So, can't wait for that. That's been fun. But like I said, only reason I haven't delved too deeply in that and only got a limited time one day playing Destiny 2 is because Comic-Con is here. Rick and I went yesterday. I went again today. As Rick mentioned, he's going again tomorrow and Sunday like a madman. What's your Comic-Con experience been like so far?
So yesterday, it was a pretty good day. But the start of the day was pretty rough. You know, we had to go pick up the badge for my cousin. Mm-hmm. Since he had his badge mailed to a different address, his previous address, and he forgot to change it. But we were essentially looking for where to pick up our badge, and for Comic-Con, there's so many lines, and you don't know where these lines are going to. So we spent, part of the morning looking for the correct line to line up to pick up the badge, and we were just directed all different places. We walked around the entire convention on the outside part looking to where to line up at, and finally we managed to line back up right in the front of the convention center where when we came there originally, we were directed to go to the back, and then from the back they were directed to go to all the way to the left side of the convention center to the Marriott. Then from the Marriott, we were told to go upstairs. And then from upstairs, we were told to go all the way back to the front of the convention center where we started. So that was an interesting morning to pick up our badge. Our goal was to get into the Overwatch line. And unfortunately, we didn't make it because the people that were inside the convention center already that got their badges quickly, they were able to rush to the Overwatch line and they capped it. Mm-hmm. So, we had to figure out what else to do, and we decided to push the Blizzard line off, and we went to the Funimation booth, and that's where I was trying to get some Funko Pop figures for Eric and Scott. And it was funny because every time I would try to get into the line, they would tell me I would have to come back 15 to 20 minutes later. And I remember you and my cousin were standing like maybe a couple feet away from me, and you were just watching me go back and forth to try to get into that line. And so every time I would go and ask her if I can get into the line, she would say, come back 15 minutes. And I would turn away. And then 2 or 3 more people would hop right into the line as soon as I walked away. And I was like, wait a minute. So I turned back and I kind of went back to get in line. And she was like, come back 15, 20 minutes. And I was like, okay, fine. So I turned back again. She lets in 2 or 3 more people. And I was like, what is going on? What the fuck? So I was like, all right, I'm not moving from this spot. And then so I was standing there, and then a line kind of started to form behind me because they thought that I was, the line to get in. And then she was like, no, everybody stop. You guys got to keep moving. You got to, get out of here. And I was like, all right, fine. I'll give up this time. So I turned around, and she lets in 5 more people. And I was like, okay, I am not moving. I don't care if you tell me to move. I'm not moving. And I could see you and my cousin laughing at me because, I'm just going back and forth trying to get into this line. And then finally she was like, okay, you've been here the longest, so I can let you in and maybe 2 more. And so that's how I was able to get into that line. I was like, God damn, dude.
And she says you've been waiting there the longest. This whole
Yeah.
you turning back around, getting rejected, doing that 3 or 4 times, that happened in the span of maybe 4 minutes, man. It wasn't even that long, dude. Because John Raymond and I, we just posted up at the Funimation booth, and we're just looking at anime Blu-ray DVDs, maybe 2 feet away from where Rick was supposed to get in line at. And yeah, just watching him go back and forth was hilarious. But yeah, it was so dirty how he was getting played. He would ask, turn around, a bunch of people would get in line, and it's just amazing how it happened. But I'm glad you got in, man. That's amazing.
Yeah, and managed to get my, the exclusives for our friends. But for the con experience itself, I enjoyed not having to rush to get things. Before, I'd always have to rush to get to this booth, to get to that, to get the exclusive, to line up for something. But, when I find out like a couple lines are capped or they're telling me to come back for the other type of stuff, like, I'm not really stressed about it. I don't really have to find the energy to stand in line or to wait for that exclusive. I can just go ahead and enjoy the con the way it's supposed to be enjoyed. And since it was a Thursday, it was crowded, but it wasn't that crowded. You have enough space to walk around. So, we got to walk around, see all the things you wanted to see. And at that point, we were going to the Square Enix booth. And oh my God, this made my day. My cousin, dude, by the way, my cousin is really fast at moving inside a convention center. Any crowd, he is good. He is a ninja, basically. He can weave in and out of the crowd. He can disappear. He can blend in perfectly. There was this time we were outside the con, waiting in line, and we saw him in line. We turn around, and then we turn back to him. He was gone. So we lost him. Yeah. So his idea was to bring a giant glowing orange backpack.
Yeah, just a fluorescent orange backpack, so we could see him in the crowd, dude.
Exactly. And then we're like, dude, we called him up. We're like, dude, we lost you. Where are you at? And then he holds up this bright, shiny orange backpack. And then we're like, oh, okay. We see you. And then as soon as he puts it back down, we're like, dude, we lost you. Oh, man. So he's pretty good at, weaving in and out. But anyways, he was at the Square Enix booth before me and you were able to get to it. And he called me up and he's like, dude, you got to get here fast. And I was like, why do we have to rush? I don't need to rush. And he's like, dude, your favorite thing in the whole wide world is here. And I was like no way, it can't be possible. So we go to the Square Enix booth, and it turns out there's my favorite game. They're making a figurine of my favorite game. And I was like, oh my God, this game came out in 1995. And that was almost like 20 years ago. And now they're deciding to make a figure of my game, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. That made my day. And the game is Xenogears, by the way. So now I'm just looking forward to picking up that figure. Even though if they charge $400, $300, I'm willing to pay that much money.
What if you have to wait in line 24 hours before it comes
I
out?
will wait 24 hours for this figure. Dude, I'm telling you, man, this is my soul. This is my first RPG game that got me into Japanese RPG.
Still in my backlog. I'm gonna play it eventually, dude.
Man, you gotta play this game. But yeah, I don't know. This is my favorite game of all time, and now that they decided to bring it back, this is when Square Enix was called Square Soft.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then but anyways, after the Square Enix area, we decided to take a break, and we went up to the Tekken room to meet Crystal and James. But we kind of got sidetracked, and we walked into the Microsoft booth or Microsoft room which is like next door of the Tekken room. And then, so, you know, we get their water. Oh, and their water is amazing. I don't know what the water is, but it was just like fresh, cold water.
Yeah, it's because we were sweating our balls off the whole time. Drinking ice cold water was so refreshing, dude.
Yeah, and I remember seeing that sign that says, "Do not refill your
water bottles."
Or your water bottles. Here you are trying to refill your water bottle. But yeah, we managed to play some MVC up in there, and it was pretty empty when we got there. And then we went over to the Tekken room, got some more of that free, awesome water, and that's where you're able to
refilled my water bottle. Shout out to Hydro Flask.
The water, yeah, right in front of the sign. Don't do that. But yeah, we chilled. We met up with Dennis, and yeah, and from that point, we were just waiting. Oh, well, I was waiting. I had to go to a Funimation event, which was taking place around 1:30, and it was at the Whiskey Girl off of 5th Street. And so when I went there, I went there with Eric, and we met up with Danny later. But it was a cool event. Altogether, they were giving out free stuff. They're like, when you spin the wheel, they would give out like free pins, free shirts, free jackets, even free phone cases, and for whatever phone you have. And that would happen at every hour. And me, Eric, and Danny, we all, actually the whole crowd, that everybody inside that bar, they thought that the signature was taking place at 2:30, but then we all learned that it was actually at 4:00. So we had to wait till 4 to get the signature we wanted. And we were actually looking forward to getting the signature from All Might, who the voice actor is Christopher, I don't know his last name, Sabat. But he's the voice actor that played Vegeta.
What?
Lupin the Third, yeah. Garland in Final Fantasy for Dissidia.
Okay.
All Might. He played all these hardcore main characters that we all know. And we're all waiting for him to show up. And so when it was getting close to 4, we started forming a line, and we were just standing in line. And then I remember this guy next to me was asking one of the staff, like, who's the signature for? Where is the guy at? You know, like, I thought this is the line to get the signature, blah, blah, blah. And then out of nowhere, you can hear this dude's voice. He goes, "I am here," you know, in that cool, awesome anime voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole crowd like turns, and, you know, they're like, "Oh my God, he's right here, right next to us." And so, you know, we managed to get our signatures on whatever we brought there. And I really wanted him to write something on my figure that I brought, but I was distracted by another voice actor because I was talking to him and, you know, like telling him how cool he was to voice act these things. And the All Might dude, like, he only wrote like ha 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 on my pop, and I was like, oh dang it. He wrote plus ultra on Eric's pop figure, which is like one of the iconic scenes in the anime. And I was like, damn it, I wish he could have wrote that. But yeah, that event essentially was pretty cool to go to because you get free stuff and you get to look at the food that I was starving. I didn't even eat. By the way, I didn't even eat breakfast, lunch, and the dinner before that day because I was afraid that I would have to poo. I was afraid. You know, that's why I know where these bathrooms are, like the ones in the Hilton and where all the secret bathrooms are, because if I ever have to poo, I want to be pooping on a golden throne.
You'd rather starve.
Yeah, dude, I was not eating chips, no nothing.
Oh my God, dude.
So, and then by the way, like right when we were all done, we decided to go home, and we ended up getting carne asada fries, which was so amazing. And then I was so hungry, I still went to go get Taco Bell. And, dude, I was binge eating all this Mexican food last night. Man, hot sauce. I was like, dude, I have nothing to do the next day. I'm gonna blow my butthole open. So I was eating all this bad food. All this bad food. And then, dude, I passed out in my boxers. Just like, I was like, man, I was... Oh, Mexican binging food. Oh, yeah. That was my experience.
I like how you wrapped it up in a perfect gift ending for us. That was beautiful. Man. I love that. But
so good.
Yeah, man, I was with you for most of the day. I think we separated when you went to Funimation. I was trying to go to some panels while the Funimation thing was going on, so I stayed behind at the convention center. And the panels I went to, they were all related to writing or stories in video games, because that's my favorite thing in a video game, right? Is the stories. That's what I play them for, you know? So I went to 3 different panels about what it's like to write for a video game and everything like that. I mean, the ones I went to had people that wrote for Horizon Zero Dawn, Destiny 2, Uncharted 4.
Wow, like,
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
There was some Telltale writers there at different ones. Let me see. I think I have a list, or I can just look for a couple more of things they did.
Have you considered ever getting into story writing for video games?
Not because I don't really write like that, you know? I think it'd be cool. I just don't think I'm creative enough. And someone had asked them that too, you know, I want to write, but I don't think I'm creative enough. Because they were talking about the big thing with video games, because all these people were originally writers for film and television, right? And in movies and television, you feed people the story. You know, you hold their hand, you tell them what they're supposed to look at and how they're supposed to experience it, right? In video games, it's completely different. There's a person writing the story, but at the same time, the player is writing their own story within it. Ooh. So it's hard. That's what makes it so frustrating for video game writers, because what they want to portray to someone might not translate to them like that, right?
Yeah.
For example, for us, we play Final Fantasy XIV a lot. We are in this world that they built for us, and we follow this main overarching story. But us ourselves, I mean, especially with role players out there, they'll just make up a completely different story for their own character that they made, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little bit interesting, and that's where they said the challenges are, to make it so the story they give you and the story you create yourself are in the general direction they want to take you, you know, and make the player feel something, right? They said if they had it their way, they would not give you a controller. It would just eventually just be a bunch of cutscenes and stuff, right? But it was definitely cool, man. There was, what else did these people write, man? There was one person that wrote part of the story for World of Warcraft too. It was kind of wild, man. And then they were like old vets in the game. These people have been in the video game industry for like 20 plus years, you know, even before it was a big thing. The writer for Injustice series was there too. And
nice.
Everybody loved him, man, because Injustice is crazy. I mean, it's a fighting game, but the story mode, especially in Injustice 2, is wild, man. It's just like a comic book, you know? Another interesting thing they talked about, of course, the first panel I went to had had a writer from Destiny 2, and someone during the questions said, yeah, so the story in Destiny 1 sucked. How are you gonna make it better in Destiny 2? And the guy goes, so here's the problem they ran into, is they made the game, but they told the story outside of the game, right? Through Grimoire cards. Yeah, through Grimoire cards that you searched up online once you collected them. You couldn't even look at the Grimoire cards in the game. You had to go on your computer on your own time and look at what the Grimoire cards said, right?
Yep.
And he said that didn't work for them. and it's because people expected to see the story inside the game. But for other games, for example, Overwatch, right? The story is completely outside the game. They have those short films that they have on YouTube, and that's where people consume the story of Overwatch. So it works in that sense, but doesn't work for Destiny. And I think it's because Overwatch started doing the story outside first before it's inside the game, so people appreciate that more. Plus, the quality is way higher, right? You're watching this animated movie instead of reading a grimoire card.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it was interesting to hear that too, where that's what was always my complaint. You know, you have your story outside of the video game. That doesn't make sense. It should be in the game. But there's ways that you can make it successful and ways that are just all sorts of fucked up. Destiny. But he said they're improving it. He said that he hopes that we complain that there's too much story in Destiny. he said Destiny's kind of hard because the whole time you're concentrating on shooting aliens. You're not really listening to the dialogue. And what makes it worse is if you're playing with your friends, you're really not listening to the dialogue. You're talking to each other. You know what I mean? So it was an interesting take. Got into the minds of people that write games that we play. Oh, there was a guy from that did like the whole Arkham series too. So it was interesting hearing their insight on everything they did, kind of picking their brain. Another panel, or the last panel I went to, was for voice actors and stuff. And the guy from who plays Prompto in Final Fantasy 15, he was there, and he sounds exactly like Prompto does, dude. And he's in a bunch of anime too. You'll probably recognize his voice. He just plays the best friend with the high pitched voice in every anime, dude.
Yeah.
I think his name's Robbie something. I forgot his last name, dude. Yeah, I forgot his last name. But it was pretty cool. There were people that volunteered to act out scenes with him and stuff, and he was coaching them on, how to do the scene better and all that. And it's crazy. It made me appreciate anime dubs a lot more, man.
yeah, especially when I went through my signing and just hearing their voice in person.
Yeah,
it's like, man, you really appreciate like their persona, their personality. And
yeah.
all that.
Oh, he's in Persona too. He does a voice in Persona as well. I forgot for what character, but
man, I gotta play that Persona 5. That's on my backlist too.
Yeah, but the funniest part about it was someone actually told him and said, "Oh, hey, why does English dubbing on anime suck so much?" Essentially saying whatever he does sucks, right? And he goes, "Well, it's not that it sucks. It's just a little bit awkward, right? It's not written for English or animated for English."
Exactly.
So let's say a character is telling a joke, right? So the guy that asked, he was like, "Yeah, tell me a joke." And the guy said, what he called, I don't know, it's some stupid joke. He said, "What do you call cheese that's not yours?" And he's like, "What? Nacho cheese." Some bullshit. And he's like, "All right, retell the joke to me, but only talk when I have my palm open. When I close my palm, stop talking, So the guy would be like, "What do you call?" And he would close his fist. And he'd stop talking. And he opens his fist and he says, "Cheese," close his fist again, And you could see the timing of him telling the joke wasn't for it to be funny, It was so it could match up with the lip movement of the Japanese character talking.
Wow.
So that's why it's so awkward. They have to conform to the character's mouth movements. So that's why sometimes it is awkward or not as good as the Japanese voice actors. It's because the timing is completely different. They have to make something funny by changing up all the timing and shit, or make you feel an emotion by changing up all the timing, where you would naturally take a breath or you would gasp or breathe deeply or something, or sigh. They don't have the time to do that. They have to finish this dialogue first. So it was pretty interesting. It made me appreciate, like I said, English dubbing on anime a lot more, dude.
Yeah, holy shit, you opened my eyes.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. And I think I've come to appreciate panels, man. I mean, as much gaming news as I read, I think I learned a lot more by going to these video game writing panels than I've done for any video game blog or anything,
Yeah.
Hearing it from the horse's mouth themselves. So it was pretty cool. So by the end of, I was at the convention center yesterday till maybe about 8 p.m. since I was going to all those panels. But before I went to the last one, I kind of went back to the show floor, and it was almost completely empty, dude. There was nobody walking around. I got to like do backflips throughout the rows and shit, man. It was amazing. But the coolest part was there were no lines. So Nintendo was there with Mario Odyssey. I got to play Mario Odyssey waiting 5 minutes, dude. I just jumped in line and started playing, and that game is great. It's like Mario 64. That's the only 3D Mario I've ever played, and the graphics are amazing. I think it runs at 60 frames.
Jesus.
And it's 720p. I couldn't tell. I mean, the game just looks so polished and so clean. It was amazing, man. So I got to play that. Almost made me want to buy a Switch. And then I jumped in the Xbox line and I got to play Shadow of Mordor, or Shadows of War, I think the second one's called. I got to play that on the Xbox One X, and that looked super clean. And that's what made me realize too I need to get a new graphics card. Because this was running on a console and looked amazing, man. I was pissed.
Yeah.
I was pissed. But that was pretty cool. I got to play those two games. The Blizzard line, eventually, the ninja John Raymond was able to get into it for us and bought us some stuff.
Yep.
So, shout outs to him for picking us up all our Blizzard stuff. But I would have been able to go in that line easy peasy, man. After playing Shadow Mordor and Mario Odyssey, I could have jumped in that line because it wasn't there anymore. So that's what cemented it for me. I think the best way, especially now that we're really not trying to pick up any exclusives or anything, just go in the afternoon of the first day. It just really empties out. You know, I think people get there early like we did and tire themselves out by 3 or 4 o'clock. So
yeah,
go there after that, just have
pretty much gone. Yeah,
free reign. Yeah, man. So I think that might be the strategy for next time. And like you, my focus for Comic-Con has changed now, where I want to see the latest and greatest and get the newest stuff, to enjoying the panels more and hearing about stuff professionally, you know, right from developers, right from writers that are involved in the things I like. And
exactly.
It's interesting to see the people that have the same taste as you, you know? When I said to myself, okay, I'm going to go to this panel that has the writer from Uncharted and the writer from Horizon Zero Dawn and this, just talking about their process of writing a video game story and what makes it successful. I was thinking, this is probably going to be super boring. I'm going to be 1 out of 10 people there, you know? And I walk into the room and it's full. I go, holy shit. All you guys are interested in this too? So it's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool. It's that much more concentrated. You relate to people a lot easier too. So, yeah, man. Last thing I played today, this is the last thing I'll mention because we're going way over. Last thing I played today was Dissidia at the Final Fantasy, or at the Square Enix booth. And I was about to say Squaresoft. You got it in my head. But basically, if you won this little mini tournament or whatever they held, you got to get a 1 gil coin with a Warrior of Light on it. So Rick actually texted me about it, so I said, oh man, I gotta get one of these for my boy Rick.
Oh, nice.
So while I'm in line, you know, it was a pretty short line. I think I only waited 10 minutes or so. While I was waiting in line, there was this one guy there who was just really into Dissidia for whatever. He didn't work at the Square Enix booth or anything. He was just there hanging out, watching everybody play. And he's arguing with somebody about why, who is it? Tidus is a broken character and they need to patch him. So he's over in the corner arguing with somebody. He's like, yeah, his cooldowns are too slow. He's too fast. His attacks are too hard. He's too well-rounded. You gotta nerf him. All this stuff, right? And I'm like, and I asked the guy, oh, how can I get the 1 gil coin? He's like, oh, you gotta win like 2 matches. And that's when I got in my head, I gotta play Tidus, man.
Yeah.
So they don't give you, at E3, remember, they had printouts of the controls and stuff right in front of you so you could figure out what to do. There was nothing like that at the Square Enix. I didn't know how to play motherfucking Dissidia. I've never played. barely played Urgis back in the day. Is that the
Yeah.
fighting game with Cloud and shit? I barely played that. So I was guessing the whole time, dude. But I figured it out fairly quickly. I think R1 was just a dash to whoever you were locked onto. And then X is attack. I think square is a power attack or something. And then your cooldowns, you start with them at the timer being 0, and then throughout the match, they accumulate so you could use them. So by the time I got halfway through the match, I was just mashing triangle, using all my cooldowns and shit, making big ass explosions. And Zidane, Titus was broken as shit. I could just dash to my enemies unlimited and keep attacking them. When they get up, I dash at them again and attack them again, dude. I felt so overpowered, dude. And we won. We won 2 matches, man. Just wiped the floor with anybody else that was there. I think how it works is they have a shared health bar, because I wasn't killing anybody, but I saw a health bar at the top, and whenever I hit the guy, it would go down, and it would go down when I didn't hit him. So I think everybody has a shared health bar that they have. But won twice, and the guy's like, "Whoa, good job, guys," and starts handing out the gil, and I was like, "Yo, can I get like 3 of those?" He goes, "What do you need so much gil for, man?" I was like, "Don't worry about it." I just took 3 coins and pocketed that shit. So in the real world, I'm 3 gil rich, bro.
Yeah. Holy shit.
So it was cool, man. Damn, I said that was gonna be the last thing. But Mario Odyssey, it's crazy how you had to wait for an entire day to play that game at E3. And I stood in line for 2 minutes and played that game.
And played it. Oh, that's the game I really wanted to play at E3, but the entire E3 floor ran to that booth for the Mario Odyssey stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't handing out the hats, so that might be a thing too. They didn't really care.
Yeah, yeah.
It was more an incentive because people wanted the hats at E3. So, but yeah, good times, man. My year at Comic-Con's done. Yours is like just beginning, man. You got a whole other day or 2 over there.
Yeah, I might not make it tomorrow because I ate.
Did you eat Taco Bell?
More Taco Bell and more Mexican food and a spicy burger from Wendy's.
Jesus fuck, dude! You just went in today, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, good times. I would call it a successful year at Comic-Con. I think my tastes are getting older. I'm going to fucking panels now, dude. Who am I?
You're an old man. Oh my god.
I know, dude. Watch. Next thing you know, I'm gonna be up there at the microphone asking questions. Like there was one panel where I had seen this guy before because he was at another one of the story writing panels too, and he tried to ask a question, but they cut him off, so he went back to his seat. At like the second or third one I went to, they were barely halfway through their panel and he was already at the mic. I think the guy was like, "It's not time for questions yet, sir," and he goes, I know, I'm just getting ready." That's gonna be me, dude. In a couple of years, it's probably gonna be me,
shit.
man. Oh man! But speaking of asking questions, we've got some questions here that our friends have asked us and wanted us to talk about on the show. I figured we'd do it all at once so people wouldn't have to wait an entire month of us to get through certain topics. So we'll just do them right now in question time. We'll do these a little bit of quick fire. If you want to elaborate on something, you definitely can, man. We'll ask you the questions and then I'll answer them as well. First one was free to play MMOs. How do you feel about that, man? What are the pros and cons of free to play MMOs?
I would say I'm a little bit of bias for free MMOs because there's like so many free to play games that I really wanted to be invested into, but later down the line I ended up dropping the game sometime. But I think I can list a couple of things. So some of the pros that I think I can consider is, one, it's free.
Yeah,
you know,
that's the biggest pro. Yeah,
it's a free game. You know, you don't have to buy anything, and that leads to my second point is that friends can join and people can join because it's free. If you want to test out a game, you don't have to pay to see how well the game plays and lose money that way. But you can just go ahead and jump into a game. So some of the good games that I enjoyed was like Vindictus. It was a really good free to play game, even though it started off pretty rough, graphic intensive and all that. But in the end, that leads to one of my points for the cons is that even though it was free to play and it was a good game, the incentive started to drop off because it was a free to play game. So it was just limited on the things you could do in that type of environment for the game. So for the cons, it's usually a pay to win model.
Yeah.
So like you always have a subscriber that pays money to get this awesome gear, awesome whatever, and that changes the way people play the game. Like when you don't pay anything, I feel like it's limited to what you can do inside the game, and that kind of like disrupt the environment of you getting immersed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you feel very limited, and it can be annoying too. Like you have to pay in order to be to play a full game, stuff like that. And then the second point would be like it creates a lot of trolls.
Yeah.
A lot of robots, a lot
sure.
of trolls, yeah. And if they get banned, all they can do is just create a new email and create a new character and start trolling. And lastly, I would say, it goes back to the pay to win model. It's like you have to pay to expand your inventory, or they'll keep it limited for the free players versus.
Damn, yeah. Shout outs to Blade and Soul.
Yeah,
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
So you're only given like 10 slots, and in Blade and Soul, and then you have to pay for that extra 50 slots, which you really need.
Mm-hmm.
So, Blade and Soul was a good model. It was a good game, but it was missing that incentive. Even though it was a free-to-play game.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat as you, man. There's only one pro and con, and it's free. That's a pro and a con. Pro is it's free. You get to play it and enjoy it, and you get to share it with your friends and play it with them, and there's no hair off anybody's back. The con is it's free, so there really isn't as much money invested in it as you would want there to be. And then the player base is just that much more immature, because they could just make millions of accounts and nobody cares, right?
Exactly.
You lose your account in Terra, just make a new email, I don't know, refresh your IP or something, and then you can make a new character. You get banned from Final Fantasy 14, that's money that you've wasted and you can't put back into the game. That's time you've lost. So pros and cons, all the same to me. It's free. That's what makes it good and bad. Just depending how you look at it, man. Next question we got. What is your preference, graphics or story? We already know my answer. I prefer a better story in a video game rather than breathtaking graphics. I mean, I play fucking Emily is Away 2. That's a 2-bit game with a great story, and I love it. Might be my game of 2017, dude. So it's yours, man.
See, that one, I'm kind of on the offense. So it's like, although the graphics heavily influence my decision, I would also have to go with the story.
Mm-hmm.
A good story makes most of the game, like, it gives you the incentive to keep playing, to learn the story and all that. And I would say the reason why I'd say graphics influences my decision also is because, like, I would say Undertale. It's a really good story, but I was super against like the graphics and the way. Even though I was stupid, it wasn't so much of like how advanced the graphics was. It was just the way the characters didn't connect to me. Like the way they were drawn.
The art style.
Exactly.
That game just got super weird though, because everyone was pixelated, and then you fight that flower, and there's just this face, kind of out of RoboCop, that was super advanced looking compared to everything else, man. This was so weird.
Exactly, and see, that's what, looking at that graphics, I really didn't want to play that game. Like, I was just like, oh yeah, I won't ever pick up that game. But it was my cousin that actually forced me to sit down and start playing the game and make sure that I wouldn't leave the chair, because I was like, all right, I'm done. I saved. I beat the first dude. I'm done. But even though the graphics was influencing my decision, it was a good story.
Mm-hmm. So. Gotcha. That game, not in my backlog, I think. I've seen enough about that game where I've played it in spirit, not in real life. Next question we got is, what is your favorite Telltale game? You've played a Telltale game, right?
Nope. So I can't answer this question.
Shit, okay. So my favorite Telltale game, I think I've talked about it before, is the first season of Walking Dead. I think it's because that was my first introduction into any Telltale game ever, and this was when Walking Dead for me was it. I don't think I was really into Game of Thrones yet, so Walking Dead for me, that was the shit, man. You couldn't tell me anything, even though the ending is more or less predictable with what you do. No matter what happens, the story is going to end a certain way. That was my first time experiencing it like that, so it was crazy to me. It was interesting enough. I went to a panel with one of the writers from Telltale. She was the manager of the creative department or something like that.
Oh, nice.
But anyways, she was talking about how they're so backed up. I think they just announced a new Batman Telltale game, and they're doing Minecraft Story Mode Part 2. They have so much stuff in the backlog that they're going to make, and it's because people will go up to them and say, hey, we like what you did here. Can you make a story for our game? Can you make a Telltale game for the next Spider-Man or the next whatever sci-fi movie is coming out? Because there's a Guardians of the Galaxy friggin' Telltale game too.
Shit, yeah.
So
I saw that.
They're not short of work, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Everybody loves the work they do, and although I complain that it all ends the same way, I think the experience is still there, and it's always going to be someone's first time playing a Telltale game, like it was for mine with the first Walking Dead season. So I think it's one of the few games that made me tear up at the end, man. One of the few games. Next question we got is games that frustrated you the most. Just gonna give my most frustrating one. It's gonna be Destiny. I don't think I've ever ripped clothing over a game, but one time in PvP, my team wasn't cooperating. I was putting in work in this fucking game. I think it was for Iron Banner too. And I had 5 coins at this point, which means I had lost 5 times in a row, was not getting any experience or anything, and I really just needed 1 win to level up to 5, and I just wasn't getting it. So I had 5 coins, and I was about to win, and somehow we lost because my team was just trash. And I was not biting my nails, but I was like biting the collar of my shirt, because the game was that close, and I wanted to win. And I had the last kill in my sights, but I killed him, and it says you lost. And I go, what? The other team barely got the kill before I did.
Wow.
So I have the collar of my shirt in my mouth. I put my controller down, and I just pull at my shirt, and it just fucking rips, dude.
Wow.
So I'm sitting here with a big ass hole in my shirt, and I'm just like, the next game's coming up. I don't even press circle to back out the game. I just turn off my PlayStation. I go, all right, I'm fucking done with Destiny PvP for a little bit, dude.
Do you still have that shirt?
Fuck no, I threw it away, dude. I was so pissed.
Oh, wow.
So I think that's the most frustrated I've ever gotten. Just because I was losing the entire day, and I just needed 1 win. 1 win to level up, and it just wasn't happening, dude. And I was so close, and fucked up at the end. But yeah, man. What was your most frustrating gaming experience? Or what
Okay,
game frustrated you the most?
mine wasn't really that crazy, but it was like Demon Souls. So
Of course,
that
yeah,
game
yeah.
is already hard enough, and the more harder it gets, they say, okay, let's punish the player even more. But there was this level where you can make one of the players as a boss. So you're essentially PvPing, but the player's a boss. And I would ask my cousin, who I just, a year later, I introduced him to the game of Demon Souls, John Raymond, into Demon Souls, and he was like, okay, cool. I'll be the boss for you, so that way nobody else can be the boss, and that way I can kill him. But no, you know how my cousin is a troll, so. This is
dude.
where I was frustrated as hell, man.
He just kept killing you?
Yes! And it was, the thing was, since I've been playing it a year longer than him, I was expecting I would be the shit at this game. But I told him, I made the mistake. I said, do not use two weapons. One weapon is, I think it was like a glaive or something like that. And it basically breaks your stamina down. And once the stamina is like completely down, your guard breaks and you start taking the hits. And then the other weapon I told him not to use was like a weapon that goes through shields. So, guess what he uses? He uses both of those weapons. First time he used the spear, or the glaive, and it broke my shield, and he kept killing me, and he killed me almost like 3 times in a row, and I was so frustrated at that point. I was like, dude, you don't know how hard it is for me to climb these stairs to even get to you to fight you, and you're supposed to lose on purpose. But the thing was, you were killing me, and you were better than me. And then I was like, okay, fine, whatever, dude. Let's do this. I'm gonna go all out. And then I was like bringing out my best weapons. I was like, I got this giant axe that can slam you onto the ground, so that way, you can not. I will win. So I go back up there, and he has the other weapon, which is it goes through shields. So basically, he one-shot kills me, and I was like, oh my god, dude, what? I was so mad, dude. I was like, I was crunching the controller. I was like, dude, man, I told you not to use these weapons, and you're using these weapons. And he's like, what, dude? No, don't worry, I got you. And I was like, okay. So I went up there again. He still has the weapon out, and I'm like, dude, okay, let's play it hard. Let's do this. So I like get the same weapons as him, but the thing is, he was a faith build. And nobody in this entire game is a faith build, which goes, they scale crazy. No, so since nobody's a faith build, nobody has defense against faith, which is like holy magic shit.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he was just one shot killing me. And then he puts on the giant retarded hat just to show that he was the boss of my world. And he was like, yeah, you cannot beat me. God, dude. Oh my god. So at that point, I stopped playing Demon Souls.
He didn't let you beat him ever, dude, in that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God,
yeah, exactly. Like, I already beat the game a couple times, but I don't remember what I was doing. Oh, man. I'm just like, oh, God, John Raymond. You're the biggest troll. I created you.
I created you.
Yeah. So.
Oh, shit. That's funny.
That was so frustrating.
So you almost tore your shirt. Almost.
Yeah.
I think ultimately
I threw my controller almost.
We both just had to turn off the game. That's how you can tell your friends. You just rage quit.
Exactly.
All right. Next question we got is what games you would like to, or what game would you like to see remastered? I already know what your answer is going to be. Go for it, dude.
You don't know it. It could be Tetris.
It starts with an X, ends in Enogears, man.
No, Xenoblade. Oh, yep, Xenogears.
Mine, dude, it's a SquareSoft game too. Brave Fencer Musashi. I think I mentioned it before. It's
Yeah,
just
you were telling me that, to play that or check that out.
yeah, it's just an action RPG, and right at the height of SquareSoft's popularity, dude. I think yeah, the demo disc, or it came with a Final Fantasy VIII demo disc, so it came out between Final Fantasy 7 and 8, which is like SquareSoft's prime. So yeah, they remaster that. I will die happy, man. I think we can mention. I want to see Final Fantasy VII remastered in my lifetime because that shit's
That's
not out
50
yet.
years from now.
Dude, can you believe? Can you believe they announced that shit 2 years ago and we still haven't heard anything?
Exactly.
2
I don't know
years.
what they're doing. I think
Holy shit.
and they're working on that Dissidia game. So
Yeah,
now you know that their focus is kind of elsewhere.
all over the place. And they haven't. How long has Kingdom Hearts 3 been in the works? And they're barely dropping it in 2018.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
It was supposed
dude.
to be. I thought it was supposed to be this year too. So I
Yeah.
guess it's next year.
Yeah, that game looks clean as shit though. They showed it at D23, the Disney convention, and jeez, dude, the Toy Story world just looked crazy.
Yeah, I think I might play the entire series just to play Kingdom Hearts 3.
Dude, that's what I'm scared of in the future. Going on a little tangent here of stuff getting taken away from Comic Con, because you know Disney owns Star Wars and Marvel. They showed off a lot of Marvel and Star Wars stuff at D23, and it happened I think the weekend before Comic Con too. So holy shit.
Yeah.
Last question we got here. Name a game that didn't live up to your expectations, and then vice versa. What's a game that was a surprise to you?
I would say Watch Dogs, the first one. You know, you think you're gonna
Oh,
be
that's a good one. That's a good one.
yeah, crazy open world, controlling all this kind of technology, hacking so much stuff, but it was just super repetitive. Everything was the same thing. You're mainly driving the entire game. You're just driving your car across town just to get to the mission, and that's where you spend most of your hours at. Another game I would say I haven't played this, but a lot of people were disappointed would be Mighty Number 9. The people for
Yeah,
Mega
that's
Man.
supposed to be Mega Man's comeback. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say the next game would be Final Fantasy 15. Even though I enjoyed a lot of it. I think since there were so many changes, the hype was way too crazy. The expectations was very mixed, you know. Like I give that game like maybe a solid 8 out of 10.
That's kind of high, man.
It is, but I think it could have been way better if they stuck with the things that they promised that they were going off. Because originally the story was supposed to be like a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're supposed to be on two different sides. There's romance between them, but since they're on both sides, they have to fight each other. But they decided to take the game to a different direction. So instead of using that same girl, they scrapped her altogether and introduced the other girl that's currently into Final Fantasy 15, the other main protagonist girl.
Mm-hmm.
And so by doing that, they had to change the entire story of how they're related, how they're associated with each other. And that's what got me to. It's like I was expecting a lot of these things I was seeing in the trailer, but half of the stuff was removed and was changed, you know. So that's my disappointment. And then for lastly, I would say Destiny. Even though I really enjoyed the game altogether,
Wait, as a disappointment?
No, not disappointment. I would
Or
just
it
say
didn't live up to
live
expectations?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it would be like the Destiny system where you can. Because originally I thought it would be like an MMO and you can traverse different maps and use your spaceship. But it was just more of a loading in screen. So, like, my expectation was way too high, and that's where I was like, oh, dude. It was... I should have looked at it as a different genre versus me looking at it going to be an open world system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Any games that were surprises to you, man?
Oh yeah. So surprise would be Undertale. You know, I was so reluctant
Okay.
to
Yeah.
even look at the game, but once I beat the game, I was like, wow, this is a fucking amazing game. Stardew Valley. Even
Oh wow.
though
Yeah.
my nephew was telling me so, oh my god, you would not get off my case unless I started playing that game. And once I did, I was hooked. I was farming. I spent over 100 hours in that game. Terraria, that was like pretty popular at the time, and I was like, okay, I might as well give this a shot. And even though it had no story, it was just very immersive in the way you've done things, the way you co-op with other players online, and all that. And lastly, I would like to say is Infamous.
Ooh,
You
that's a
know,
good one. Yeah.
I did not expect this game to be really good, and this game was like kind of like a hidden gem, and I just picked it up because I thought it looked cool, but I didn't really know anything about it. But once I played the entire game, dude, this game blew my mind.
Yeah.
This was a crazy game. So
Yeah. You're basically a superhero just in the open world, dude. Just doing your shit, man. You can fly, grind, all that stuff. Yep.
Exactly, and you have the choices to become good or to become
evil.
evil.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. I think that's a surprise for me too. It's definitely Infamous. For me, that was just a free game. Oh, you gave me that game, I think.
Yeah, from one of my PlayStation free games.
Yeah, you got Infamous 1 and 2 for free for whatever reason. And you had them already, so you just gave them to me. So I was like, all right, whatever. And I ended up playing it one day, and yeah, that's definitely a good game. Games that didn't live up to expectations for me, I'd say the biggest disappointment for me was The Division.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Because a surprise for me was Destiny. I didn't think I would really get into it. 1,000 hours later, it's safe to say. I love
and
that
the t-shirt.
game. Yeah, and a ripped t-shirt later. It's safe to say I love that game. And just the way that The Division was marketing itself, it was going to be everything that Destiny missed. They were going to fill those gaps, you know. You had the open HUD world where everybody could join you, and you could do missions in that open HUD world. There was a designated PvP zone. You could loot, share your loot. You couldn't really share your loot in Destiny. There was local voice chat where you could talk to strangers that you just passed by. All kinds of stuff that was going to be Destiny but better. And then when you actually play the game, it didn't really work out like that.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, I was so confident that game was going to be great. I bought the complete edition. So, I mean, right now, if I wanted to, I could play the DLCs. And I never made it past the first raid. Raid said loosely because all it is a tank that's a bullet sponge that you have to shoot for like an hour. And we found, I swear to God, we found every way to cheese that shit, dude.
Yeah.
We were clipping through walls so enemies couldn't spawn. We were going outside the map and shooting through an invisible wall so we couldn't get shot at.
That.
Dude,
yeah.
We were doing all kinds of exploits to not fight that thing legitimately, because fighting it legitimately was a pain in the ass, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys with shotguns that would just rush you and one-shot you, but their health was, it took like a minute legitimately to kill them. Yeah, man, it wasn't popping. But yeah, I think that would be the game that didn't live up to expectations. Another surprise besides Infamous for me would be Bloodborne. I had already played Dark Souls and got about halfway through it before I got burnt out, and I was like, all right, I get it. The game's hard, but I think I've gotten all I want out of that game. And then you let me borrow Bloodborne, and I figured it was gonna be more of the same. Boy, was I wrong. That turned into one of my, I think it's my favorite game, actually.
Holy shit.
And what turned it for me, I think I mentioned this before, is there's a part where I think it's called you're in the Nightmare of Mensis, right?
Uh-huh.
And you spawn in at the bottom of this hill, and then you're walking up this hill, you're fighting stuff along the way, And at one point, you get to the base of this mountain, and at the top of the mountain, there's a mansion or castle or something. And you see in kind of like the clock tower of the mansion, it glows. And every time you're in direct sight of that clock tower while it's glowing, you're getting hit with like
Dude,
blood arrows.
That is exactly where I'm stuck at right now.
Yeah. So, you know, first you're like, okay, it's not hurting me, but it's filling up this meter. What does this meter mean? And this meter, I think it's called Enrage or Fury or something. Basically, if that meter gets filled up, you lose 80% of your health automatically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So that hits me. At the same time, a werewolf comes out of nowhere and slashes me and kills me, so I die. So I learn, okay, I can't be standing out in the open while that thing is glowing, you know? And they have it set up to, when you're going up the hill, there's these barricades that block your line of sight to the tower. So, you know, you learn to traverse through there. Of course, the developers are assholes and hide enemies behind the things, behind the covers, so you're forced to go out into the open and get seen anyways. And after you die maybe 2 or 3 times, you learn the rhythm of getting up this hill, taking cover and all that. And then you realize, holy shit, I'm all the way here at the bottom of this mountain. I'm going to go up to the top of that mansion or castle and beat the shit out of whatever is shooting me with blood arrows. And
that is exactly John Raymond's mentality. He said, I'm going to go up there and beat the shit out of that eye thing.
And the level is huge, you know? So just that feeling of really being in that world of like, I'm here right now, but eventually I'm going to be up there. There's no loading times, no loading screens or anything. I'm eventually going to be up there to find out whatever it is that's shooting me with blood arrows and kill it and never have to deal with it again, dude. You know, and eventually, you know, you do make your way up there and it's kind of crazy. So that's when I knew in my mind, man, this game is something else, and it was my favorite. And yeah, I think I platinumed that game. That's how much of a fan. I platinumed the shit out of that game, and to do that, I had to finish it like 3 times. So the second time I finished it, I kind of speed ran it. So I only fought maybe 4 or 5 bosses that you had to fight. I still need to play the DLC for that. I haven't got it yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So those were the questions we got from our boys. Shout outs to Eric, Dustin, and Scott. They were just bored one day and came up with a bunch of topics for us to talk about, man. So shout out to those guys. But yeah, so that's it for us this week. We'll be back next week. We'll close up Comic-Con, see what new experiences Rick went through over the weekend, whether he got that RR during the con or not.
Raging rectum. Fire dragon breathing butthole.
After his Friday food escapades. And we'll also talk about our gaming PCs. I've mentioned a couple times here that I really want to upgrade mine. We've both built PCs within the past... When did you build your PC? Maybe 3 years ago? 2 years ago?
Yeah, right before I went to Japan. I think 2015.
Yeah, so it's about time we upgrade our rigs. We'll talk about everything we put into ours, some research that we did and all this. But until then, we'll need some words of wisdom from Rick.
Holy crap. If you're going to eat Taco Bell, make sure you plan the next day.
Alright, guys. We'll see you next week.